Our next author is an author of over, I think, 24 different books, Miko Marsh. Miko Marsh. Miko Marsh is a multi-genre author, editor, and owner of Right Heart Publishing, and again, an author of 24 books. She has a degree in psychology from Old Dominion University in Virginia and an early childhood care education certification from Chattahoochee Technical College. She writes nonfiction and children's stories under Miko Marsh and writes women's fiction and poetry under Obelia Akanki. She is best known for the Bible-based book on narcissism, Living with Jezebel. About 20 of her books can be found worldwide on your typical retailer platforms, and she sold books in over 30 different countries. In addition to writing, she provides manuscript services, facilitates workshops, and provides recorded and live audio description for individuals who are blind or visually impaired. So in addition to publishing her own books, she gives writing workshops at libraries, writing groups, and on international platforms such as Indie Author Project's Expert Session. So again, her book is available today and also at rightheartpublishing.com. So I will turn it over now to Vernita and Miko Marsh.
Yay! Which one are we talking to right now, Miko or the other cat?
Miko.
You got two personalities up here. I love
No,
it.
just the way.
Okay, well, I'm going to start out with this question first because we definitely going to capitalize on Jezebel. Why did you choose the title, You Don't Want Success?
Oh, yeah. A couple of reasons. Number one, most people don't like it. If you're telling somebody you don't want success, if they don't want it, they're like, yeah, you're right, and then they just walk away, and I got to talk about it. But the people who do, their thought is, what do you mean I don't want success? Of course I do. And then the subtitle is Demolishing Excuses Used to Prevent You from Achieving Your Goals. So if your goal is to be over here, but you're not, let's go ahead and see if any of these reasons are holding you back. So that's where that came from.
Okay, great. So tell us about that book. What is a few things, not everything, because we want people to buy it. But tell us a little bit about that. What's in that book? What's the key element? What you're trying to get across in that book?
Okay. It changes every time I think about it. What happened is I ran into a lot of people that had similar blocks that were holding them back. And a lot of times when people are looking for assistance, they have a tendency to either go to people who have not done anything, or they're looking for people who are in that billionaire bracket. And I mean, we love all these, oh, I'm sorry. I have a tendency to smoke. My goal was to get them exposed to people who are at the level that they're trying to get to next. So most people aren't trying to reach billionaire status, but I could introduce you to some people who are comfortable, six figures, they're holding their business or whatever else have you, whether it's self-employment, you're trying to move up in your job, or maybe you have a side gig, or even if you have a nonprofit. I took people from all of those areas to give feedback, to basically give tips to help you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now let's go with this living with Jezebel.
Okay.
Because when you hear Jezebel, that's almost like in The Lion King when you say Mufasa. Everybody go, ooh. So tell us a little bit about living with Jezebel and what inspired you to title it that way.
I had been learning about narcissism off and on for maybe about 7 years, and I kept hearing about narcissism and I kept hearing about Jezebel spirit. And nobody could tie those together for me. So when I went to a Bible Jeopardy and they asked the question, like, who was the youngest king on the throne of Judah? I was going through all the J names, like, it's got to be a J name. What is it? And I went home and looked it up. And then I went backwards to find out the reason that this child, Jehoash, had been appointed king at the age of 7. And I went back up in his ancestry and found Jezebel. So I went backwards and started from Joshua to work through the chronology. And it just started from a personal Bible study. And I kept finding pieces that of what she was doing that fit the behaviors of what we call narcissists. And of course, since I'm not licensed, I can't label anybody a narcissist, but I can talk about who matches the characteristics of this person, Jezebel, over here. So that's how we went that way.
All right. Well, let me ask you this regarding today's mindset, without calling somebody a narcissist. How does your book relate to some of the things that we're going through today?
What I did was I took a chronological view of when we first see Jezebel to 3 generations later. So the way it's set up is that you see what she did, and then there's a modern day example. So there are things that you may be experiencing from what is now considered toxic. That is the key term. Everybody's using toxic.
Oh, yes.
You may be experiencing things from somebody triangulation where they're saying one thing to you, then they're saying one thing to this person over there, and now you two are angry at each other and they just step back and they watch y'all shoot off fireworks.
Yes.
This thing's gang stalking. There are things that what they call love bombing, and then a big drop. So it's like they're building you up, they're gassing you up. They're like, oh my gosh, she's just so beautiful. I just love her. I mean, everything. And then they publicly humiliate you and go out of their way to destroy your character. So I think I listed
That's
about,
called love bombing?
well, love bombing is when they bring you in and you just think that you've just got the best friend. I don't know why she wants to be my best friend. We've only known each other for 3 hours, but okay. But I think I listed about 3 dozen characteristics in there, so there's a lot in there. In addition, there's also hints on what the person is going through, the person receiving the treatment, and the lessons that we can learn and why it's even important to pay attention. So,
Okay. Awesome. Another question. You write under 2 names.
yes.
Is there any reason why?
Okay, so nonfiction, I write under my name because I figured, people would look at me a little strange if I decided to lie about that one. So children's stories and nonfiction, I write under me, especially since I had a daycare. Obelia was a name that I picked up when, a while back when I was on law boards, just learning more about family law and whatever have you. Obelia means pillar of strength. I'm dealing with topics that are hard for people to discuss. Sometimes I'm speaking up for people, like people who don't have a voice. Like in my poems, 2 people are actually deceased, so they can't speak. Akanke means to know her is the lover. So if I've said something harsh, it's not because I'm being malicious, it's because I feel it needs to be said, because I'm trying to bring awareness to a situation. So with that, under Miko, I tend to write intrapersonal. So it's self-development or faith-focused. And under Obelia, it tends to be interpersonal. So
Okay.
it's based on relationships and helping you
Wonderful.
have a little bit more compassion and understand what's going on with some of the people and their situations.
That's outstanding to think, put that much thought into a name. Outstanding. Well, right now I'm going to open the floor up to questions from the audience. And you know my favorite thing, you better have one. Come on, I know somebody got some Jezebel and narcissist questions. I think they scared of you, Miko. Maybe they need some pen names to ask questions. Well, it's been a joy. Oh, there we go. We got one. Okay.
So, thank you for your comments. I'm particularly interested in this whole idea of attention, awareness, compassion. And I wonder, I haven't read your book, how the story of Jezebel helps you to point people towards compassion in particular.
Jezebel is under nonfiction. That one is more, it was originally geared for people who were dealing with the fallout. They're trying to understand why they've been discarded. They're trying to understand what happened to the relationship. Under Obelia, for the women's fiction, I do have a book called Reclaiming Celeste, where it is based on a woman who is has been discarded, and she doesn't understand what's going on, and then she learns that her husband is a narcissist. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he's going to have a question. Go ahead.
Oh,
You
because I
can
think the
finish.
question was dealing help how my books help with compassion
Yes.
or some.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the goal is to put you in the shoes of whoever that book is about. One unexpected hero, my main character has vitiligo, and she is a mentor to a child who's a friend of a child who's being bullied. So I'm addressing preteen bullying, issues of self-esteem, therapy, and just basically self-acceptance, things like that.
So my question is, your grandma B&B, is that a children's book, and what age group? And is it here today?
Okay, Grandma B and Me is ebook only. All of my ebooks are on Smashwords for 50% off. So anything under Miko Marsh, Abilia Conke, Right Heart Publishing, 50% off.
All right.
Sm- Smashwords, smashwords.com. Yes. Grandma B and Me is children's book. Right now, that one is not in print because there are no illustrations. So that is meant to be like when you call grandma on the telephone and somebody would tell somebody a story. Y'all just bonding. And it's typically for ages 3 to 8. So the first 4 are available. The next 4 have been written. They're coming.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, now the questions.
Yeah, so how old were you when you knew you wanted to write, and when did you start writing? What age?
I started writing as soon as I could hold a pencil. But I didn't. Okay, wait. I wrote my first 2 books in 2013, but I didn't really pay attention to it and take it seriously until 2017, because I woke up one day and I couldn't walk, and I couldn't understand why. Like, it was physically difficult for me to walk 15 feet. So I figured I can talk, I can think, and I can write. So that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Joy.
You've written so many. What is your process how do you choose? It sounds like you have a lot in you to pour out. So how do you choose what you select? What is your process?
Part of that came from a planner, and I actually created that goes along with this one, Create Your Success. Because I had so many things that I wanted to do, I had to give myself deadlines. Otherwise, it's one of those thoughts of like, I'm gonna do it one day, and then one day turns into 3 years later. So basically, I decide what's gonna come out next, when I need it to do, when I need to do that. Break up the time frame, work backwards, and then write it out.
Can you say more about your writer's workshop and about encouraging other authors to write?
Okay. We're actually hoping to put a retreat together next year. With the workshops, my original point for that was to help authors, writers, whether that's writing articles, journals, anything else like that, to avoid some of the pitfalls and scams. So I have things dealing with nonfiction, fiction, helping people to figure out how to put a story together. And yeah, whatever the need is at that time, I kind of build around there. Bam.
Okay, he said it's okay.
How many of you all have read my book, Forged in Battle? This young lady is my editor. She is very well, I wrote it and she edited it. So she is very good at what she does. She's trying to get her company off the ground. That's why she's here. She's exceptional. She really has 24 books, edited me. I can't say enough about it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Miko. Thank you so much. Miko, 24 book writer.